Okay. Guess who just played this game for over 9 hours and forgot to record? Okay, it's not recording. Okay, so today is the day of the release of Amnesia, the Bunker, the newest Amnesia game. And as you guys all know, I'm very obsessed with the Amnesia series. So I woke up, actually I woke up 2 hours after it came out because I didn't expect it to come out this early. I installed the game, started playing the game, didn't stop until 9 hours later. Oh, sorry, I thought I heard something. Didn't stop until 9 hours later, and at the end, my brain was fried, but I did manage to sort of recollect my thoughts and sort of look at what I thought of the lore and also the mechanics, etc. Then I stopped streaming. I was streaming it all on Twitch. And I thought that would be really nice to look at later. To once I've played the game a few more times to see my initial thoughts and everything. Turns out my personal Twitch account is set to not store broadcast, so that's all gone forever. That's all gone forever. It's fine, it's great. Anyway, I need to get it out there, so here we go, another attempt. I'll just quickly record this. Amnesia, I'm going to specifically focus on the lore, so from here on forwards, obvious spoiler warnings. And yeah, I'm going to talk mostly about the story. So the story was very I don't know, it was very, I don't know, what's the word, small. There wasn't a lot of story in comparison to something like Rebirth or The Dark Descent. Of course, the mechanics are extremely, the mechanics in this game are very different from games, previous Amnesia games. So I think those are way more worth talking about. But I only care about the lore. I'm a lore nerd. That's the this video might be an absolute mess, but if you're watching this, you could also watch those videos made by bigger gaming review channels. But guess what? They just read the lore somewhere and then they quickly put it in a video, making like 10 mistakes or 100 mistakes. I don't know. I know I can recall every detail of every game so far, and I wouldn't make this video about anything else. So you'll at least get it from a source, someone who knows every detail of every game so far. So, how does the story connect? So first I'll just talk about the story in general. The story is set in World War I, 1916, July. This is about a bunker, obviously. Duh. There's a bunch of men in the bunker in World War I. On the French side, they're under attack by the Germans and they fight back, etc. And of course, some of them become close friends, as is this main character that we play as, is called Henry or Henri Clément. And then we have his friend Lambert, is his best friend. So in one point, Lambert disappears. I think when he's on patrol, I'm not really sure, and he's not found. Turns out he was stuck in a pit somewhere. Like near the bunker is a pit somewhere. I don't know. There's a pit. It's very unclear, but there is a pit near the bunker, and he fell in there. And he got stuck in there for over a day, screaming and stuff. I don't know why the Germans didn't find him, because there are different things in the game that imply that the Germans are always around, and they're also actually shooting at the bunker at all times. So if this pit is so close to the bunker, how can someone be in it screaming and not be found? I don't know. Let's see. Oh, there's actually some extra lore here that I didn't find before. Let me check this out. Permission, commercial marshals, saboteurs granted. Okay. Given the serenity of violence. Okay, got it. I got that part. Anyway, he's stuck in a pit, and the pit has water in it, but this turns out to be water very similar to what the survivors of the Cassandra drank in Amnesia Rebirth. It is otherworldly, I don't know, poisoned, if you will, poisoned water that turns them into ghouls. So Lambert is stuck in his pit. But then I, or you, or whoever we play, Henry comes to save him and gives him some water from, just from the pit itself, because he thinks it's clear drinking water. And then, of course, Lambert starts his process slowly turning into a monster. Really, that's pretty much the whole story. So it is very small. It's a very short story. The bunker is apparently very close to an underground Roman place. Apparently there were Romans that somehow had connections to the other world and Empress Tiana, and they wanted eternal life, which of course the Vitae, which is mostly discussed in Rebirth, but also of course appears in pretty much almost every other game. The Vitae can keep your life longer. I don't know if it was ever supposed to be forever, but definitely very, very long, because Alexander was alive very long. So they did like dark rituals because they didn't understand the other world. These Romans apparently didn't understand the other world. So they just did like rituals and they treated it as a religion. That's implied in a lot of these notes. So they just treated it as a religion, did all these weird sacrifices and rituals. Excuse me? Okay, chill. Chill! Yeah, they did all these rituals. And I think because the rituals included pain, that's how they managed to get their hands on the Vitae and actually extend their life. It is actually very little is said about that. So there is, near this bunker, it is actually connected. Wait, let me get back to the map. It's actually connected. When they started mining, they managed to find this Roman temple. And it's full of, like, everyone who goes in there slowly starts going crazy. And then, of course, you also have Lambert, who is slowly turning into a ghoul. However, in the game, he looks very different. He digs in the walls and stuff, and he has giant claws. While I was playing and I didn't know who he was, or what it was, I just called him the Mole Man, because he keeps digging everywhere. He has this giant mouth with these giant teeth, giant head. Very mole-like, in my opinion. So, let's see. So this is the map of the game. Then here you have the tunnels, and if you go there, there's the Roman area. So we can actually go there, because, I don't know, I've already finished the game, so I'm just playing with no purpose right now, just for the sake of recording. So how does it connect to the other games? So basically, one of the weirdest these is probably that they mention that they found these notes by these Romans, right? Or writings by these Romans that talk about the other world as this dark place filled with monsters. Now, what's really interesting about that is that it implies that the other world was already destroyed, like it is in Amnesia Rebirth, at the time of the Roman Empire, which is like, what, the year 300 and before that. So that is really long ago, and that really seems to go against actually some other parts of the lore, because basically this is actually something I've thought about too much. Actually, every part of the lore I've thought about too much. Basically, we all know that when Herbert went to the other world, he died. So that was in 1839. So we knew that by 1839 the other world was already destroyed. Since the other world has a very strange way of recording time, it's pretty hard to tell and use their way of measuring time. Oh god, that's so loud. I don't know why I'm playing while talking. Obviously, as you can hear, I'm not good at it. I should have just recorded this beforehand, but as I said, I'm just recording this quickly while my brain is already fried from just playing this game for 9 hours. The biggest question is here is Johann Weyer. Everyone who knows the true lore of Amnesia: The Dark Descent knows about Johann Weyer. He went to not just any world, he went to the other world, as confirmed by Alexander, and he negotiated what's the word? Well, he negotiated to get water creatures, or cairns, whatever you want to call them, to Brennenburg through the portal, which has always been a very confusing part, because first of all, why would the people in the other world take him serious if he's a human? Because in the other world they don't take humans that serious. They treat them like cattle, basically, to extract Vitae from. So why would they take Johann Weyer serious? Why would they want to help Alexander by sending him Water Monster when he was already banished from that dimension? And also it implies that in that year, which was at the start of the 17th century, the Other World was still fine. That was the start of the 17th century. I don't know exactly what year that was, but I'm just picking this from my memory, right? Start of the 17th century, I would say before 1610, when Johann Weyer went into the portal that was opened with Agrippa's orb, the ritual that failed, after which Alexander put Agrippa in the husk, etc. Okay, so here's the location, the Roman location that's connected to the bunker when they excavated it. And as you can see, it's very misty, so it feels like it's filled with some kind of gas or something. And that might explain why you start seeing things, and why also everyone in the notes said they started seeing things. As you can see here, just like in Rebirth, these are connections to the other world. However, they're closed, so yeah, you have these same floating rocks. Sadly, you cannot pick them up and throw them or let them drop like in Rebirth, which I like to do. But we don't have a Traveler's Locket, so we cannot open this. But yeah, that's always been a very confusing point. And it's still not really answered now after this game. Because if the other world, as implied by this game, if the other world was already turned to ash and dust in the time of the Romans, then how come Johann Weyer at the start of the 17th century could go there and be fine? And while Herbert went there and he died because there was no water. So it's very confusing, honestly. And maybe a plot hole, but I'd love to hear if any lore nerds, lore obsessed people like myself have any thoughts on this. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I should have explained the lore of this game more detailed, but there really isn't. It's very meager, is that the word? It's very yeah, there isn't much. Okay, so here you can actually see, this place is really cool because you start seeing things. At first I was genuinely, oh god, I wish I had it recorded. I was like, wait, I thought I just saw someone, but I think I genuinely thought that me in real life, I thought I saw something that wasn't there. But if you stay in here, there we go, there's one. You see that? Oh, and now he's gone. I saw that. I was like, oh, could have sworn I just saw a guy. Like, but it's really there. I love this statue because once again it implies that the Romans had orbs. Right? Look at the statue. Let's see. So yeah, any part of the story that I missed? Well, the story overall is kind of disappointing. One of the most disappointing parts that I said I find disappointing about the story is that the main character doesn't even really matter in this whole story. You play as him. This is the first Amnesia game where the main character, the one that you play, is like one of the most boring, least interesting characters in the whole story. It's like you're a Henry, and you're not even the guy who got turned into the ghoul. That your friend got turned into the ghoul. Henry has, or Henry, I'm sorry, I'll just keep saying Henry, I think. Henry got amnesia because he had a head injury. And that's why he only woke up today. Why did he not get killed by the monster? I don't know, maybe because after his head injury he was in the sick bay, the sick area. Okay, so this is the pit where Lambert fell in. As you can see, there's some blood from probably Lambert. This is probably the water that Lambert drank and turned into the ghoul, or whatever he is, but you have to assume it would be very similar to a ghoul, even though he's way bigger. This place actually looks otherworldly. So one of my main questions is, if someone's up there, like you can clearly hear it now, like there's World War I up there. So why did no one else find this pit? It's all going on all around here, and no one fell in? And the answer is kind of no and yes. I'm not really sure, because it turned out that there's like two versions. This is like the other world part of this pit, apparently. Just like in Rebirth, you can go through a wall sometimes, and then while you're in the wall, you'll be in the other world, and then you step out on the wall on the other side, and you're back in our world again. This is like the inside of that wall. Like, you're a very small part of the other world, I think, because at the very end of the game, you'll be in this pit again, except the our world version. It has normal water. It has no, like, otherworldly rocks, like these floaty ones. And it has a lot of dead guys. So it would seem that the pit also exists in our world, like, parallel or something. But in our world, soldiers just keep falling in it or something. I don't know. The pit is quite confusing. Please keep in mind that these are just my thoughts after having played it only once for 9 hours straight when it just first came out. And this video really just serves as recollecting my thoughts for the first time. I can come back here later after I've played it like 10 times, so I know the lore way better. If someone would like me to make a way more in-depth video, let me know, where I actually go through every part, every tiny detail of the lore, but not like this where I'm just rambling, but like actually put everything in chronological order. And I don't record the footage while while talking, so I'll actually speak clearly. Yeah, just let me know. I've actually had thoughts about other Amnesia games as well, Amnesia videos, but I don't know if they're really worth the time. Other than just for my entertainment, because I just love Amnesia, obviously. One of them is a tier list of every, not just the monster, not just like, oh, monster tier list. No, every single human, etc. Because there's a lot of different humans as well with different abilities and stuff. Like Alexander would be interesting to put in there. I've actually made this tier list somewhere in a notepad that actually consists of the tiniest characters. Everything that can breathe in the Amnesia universe is in there. And then I've always wanted to, even though this is like an endless task, but I always wanted to take every single source in Amnesia and put them in chronological order to really get deep on the lore while staying true to the source. So you take every loading screen text, every note, every flashback, every... what else was there? Memory capsule, well, everything there is lore-wise, and put them in order, and then you can really see all the stories and of all the games. That would be really sick. So yeah, conclusions of this one. The story is very small, feels more like it fits a custom story than an official, like, grand release of an Amnesia game. Even A Machine for Pig had obviously really good and big lore. It just didn't connect to the other stories that much because it was written by other people. So yeah, the story truly is mostly nothing more than it's World War I. One guy accidentally drinks some of the similar stuff, the ghoul juice, and slowly starts turning into a ghoul, killing everyone. And then this guy is the one who actually has amnesia, who nothing happened to pretty much. He just got a head injury. And then also this character, Henry, he tricked another person. He didn't want to go on patrol, so he tricked another person and going on patrol instead of him. And then that person ended up not returning. So Henry felt very, very guilty about it. So there are a lot of notes about it, like... oh, it's July, sorry. He's like, oh, this thing that I have done, this thing. Oh, no. Like, and then when you find those notes at first, you're like, oh, what did he do? He has amnesia. What did he do? All of the other characters, like Daniel and Oswald Mandis, they've done horrible things. So what did this guy do? Like, it really gets you hyped. Then it turns out he didn't really do anything. He just didn't want to do a chore. So he kind of tricked another guy in doing the chore for him. Not knowing that that guy would then possibly die. Even though it's a world war, but still he didn't know. So he didn't really do anything that bad. So you kind of get tricked in that sense. I didn't really enjoy that, but I don't know. Well played, I guess. Frictional games. I think this game should be seen more from a game perspective. It's just a lot of fun to play. It's very different. I don't know if I prefer the mechanics. There's a lot of mechanics that I don't enjoy that much. Some of them are quite similar, I think, to Resident Evil games. I'm not sure. Wait. What am I hearing? Is that my sound? That's me. That's me. I thought I heard the monster for a second. I've not played Resident Evil games, but I've watched plenty of people play them. So you have like save rooms, like if you click on one of those lamps. Oh, there, it's on the table in this room. Only a few rooms, only like 4 rooms in the entire game have these lamps. The main one, the one where I started recording this, is like the central room next to the generator, is the one that you keep coming back to. This one is quite far. If you click those lamps, that's how you save. So it's kind of like a safe room. I don't know if the monster can go in there. Maybe he can, actually, if he's like right on your tail. Then you have like this inventory system with crafting. I'm not really going to talk about it that much. Oh, I want to try one thing. Actually, I'll just do that now. Why not? Bonus. Okay, so and then the game ends. You face... Well, you don't even really face Lambert as the mole man. But let's have a little look at him. Because I found this item. Lambert, he had a kid, and he bought this rabbit toy for his kid. And apparently something happens if you throw this at him during the... Well, is it a boss fight? It's not a boss fight because you don't defeat him or kill him or anything. You just try to get past him. I also tried the shotgun on him and it didn't even work. Here we go. Oh, now there's no problem. Now there's absolutely no problem. Only when it matters won't work. Oh god, he's coming. Whee! Anyway, at least there's one thing good about my original video being gone. And that is that I accidentally... Okay, here's this thing. If you refuel the generator, you have to turn it back on. And I forgot several times, but usually like after like 2 seconds, I leave the room and I go like, why is it so dark? Oh wait, I didn't turn it on. One time when I went to the farthest part of the entire game, I forgot to turn the generator back on. And I did that entire level with the generator off. And I was constantly like, dude, why is this so hard? Or not hard, but why is the monster coming out every 3 seconds? I spent like so much time hiding. I could have beat the game like 2 hours sooner if I just push the on button. Okay, so here's like the end boss fight. It actually takes part in the other world, as implied by the architecture, the constant lightning and coming from out there, just like we've seen in Rebirth. There's like this constant lightning going on. And your goal is to just get past the guy. However, I don't care. I've already completed the game. Here's your stuffed bunny. I just want to see what happens. Is that you? Yeah, that is him. Take it! Well? Pick it up. Okay, picks it up. I get a Steam achievement. Aww. He's hugging it. Now can I get a hug? Oh! Motherfucker. Ah! Yeah! I don't know. I don't really care. I've already completed the game. Basically, your goal is to go here. This is interesting because it has like... This is like other world architecture. And here you've got like... This one actually looks more like Spartan than Roman. Right? I don't know. It's weird that in the other world you would have this architecture. Also, the music is a lot like the music that plays when you meet Alexander in Amnesia: The Dark Descent. Listen. Well, if you remember that... I'm out. I'm out, bro. Anyway, yeah, let's stop. I'm sorry. Those are my thoughts. So as a lore-obsessed person, who I'm not really talking that much about the game mechanics. The lore is very short. I've definitely seen more extensive lore in custom stories in the past, so it's very simple. It's, yeah, just one guy gets turned into a ghoul. It's unclear. I hope I'll find more sources on this later. I've definitely not found all notes and everything. So, yeah. Why is Lambert, when he turns into the ghoul, why does he look so different from all the ghouls that we've seen in Rebirth, which all look extremely similar to each other, even though they were all different people? So why specifically is Lambert so different? Is it because he drank the water not from the original well in the other world, but from this pit? Is it affected somehow? What is the deal with the pit? I don't understand. Like, why is there two versions, an other world and an our world version? Why do people not just know that it's there if it's that close to the bunker, in the middle of the hottest parts of the battle in the front lines between the French and the Germans? But apparently no one knows it's there and they have to look for it, even though it's like really close to the bunker if you can get there through the bunker as well. And then maybe the biggest question of all, if the Romans already knew and worshipped Empress Tihana and the other world as this dark monster world in their time, then what does this say about Johan Weyer traveling to the other world, and also Alexander traveling to our world? Alexander got banished to our world. It is implied in Amnesia: The Dark Descent that this was at the most at the year 1400-ish, maybe earlier. It could be earlier, definitely not later than the year 1400. But the Romans, that was like the year 300, 200, etc. There's quite a difference there. So if Alexander remembers the other world as this beautiful place that he wants to return to, he definitely wouldn't want to return to a place that's turned into dust and ash that is now, or that it is in Rebirth. So we can assume that even though he's still trying to get there in the year 1839, he still thinks that the world is the beautiful world, not the ash world. So how is that possible if the other world was already turned to dust and ash in the time of the Romans? Does that imply that Alexander has already been banished to our world before then? Has he already been in our world since the time of the Romans or earlier? Because then why does Alexander in one of his notes say that his... he says this in... I don't know when he says this, but he speaks of centuries at some point. He speaks of centuries. I think, yeah, this was at like very early 17th century as well. He speaks of being in this world for centuries. Meaning that at least 200 years, right? That's why I'm saying 1400 or earlier. When he said this a little after the year 1600. So he wouldn't say he wouldn't say centuries when he's talking about... What would it then be? Like 13... Yeah, it would be 1300 plus years then. In human years. You know, of course, Otherworld has different way of time and traveling between worlds, as we've experienced in Rebirth, works differently, with Tasi's pregnancy speeding up by about, like, what, 3 months every time she goes back and forth. But that still doesn't really answer those questions that I have. Which already didn't make sense before, I think, before this game. So, I don't know. I would love to hear from an official writer of the game, or someone who's maybe even more of a lore expert than me. You know, I consider myself to know most details of the game, but hey, every time I miss, like, the tiniest note, the tiniest hint, maybe sometimes it's literally one word that I misinterpreted, and then it turns out that I interpreted something completely wrong. So yeah, I'd love to hear from other people. Yeah, I should just end this video. It's just rambling. My brain is obviously fried. Hope you're going to play the game. It is still a lot of fun. But from a lore perspective, it is meager. Is that the word? But from a game mechanics perspective, it's really interesting. So yeah. Play it for yourself. See what you think. Let me know. And also let me know if I should make any more videos. I don't think I've uploaded anything on this channel for a very long time. I don't know. See you guys another time. Bye. Oh, wait. Wait, I have to go like this. Okay, bye!